Okay, Sunil Subramaniam also joining us this morning. Sunil, we've got your new fund offering opening tomorrow. Do you want to run us through a little bit on that?
Yes, as you know, Sundaram, over its 2 decades existence, has been known for the high risk, high reward spectrum of mid cap, small cap, and sectoral funds. But over the last 3 to 4 years, we've been also building capability in the multi cap and large cap space so that to our 1.7 million strong customer base, we can offer a more diversified option. They can then come to us as a one stop shop for all kinds of products. So we launched a balance advantage fund a few months ago. We launched a multi-cap equity fund 1 year ago. So as part of this build-up, we are now launching a diversified large-cap fund. We already manage a concentrated large-cap fund named Sundaram Select Focus, which is a 5-star value research fund. We also have a large and mid-cap product, which is a 4-star value fund. And we have a balanced fund, which is also 4-star. So clearly, we have been successful in building a good performance track record in the multi and in the large cap space. So this fund, which is named Bluechip Fund, essentially is going to be a diversified large cap as opposed to a select focus, which is a concentrated large cap, 45 to 50 stocks. And as the name implies, it's going to use quality as a preference to pick stocks. And we believe that in the long term, if you take the Nifty 100, which is the benchmark, 46 stocks have remained in the benchmark through its tenure in a period of 10 years. So good stock selection, and these 46 stocks, if you had invested in 2009, you would have made 100 rupees would have gone to 289 versus the index going to 240. So clearly there is a good alpha available from good stock picking, and using quality as a filter is our approach. And I think the fund manager for this is Rahul Bajal, who also manages the other 5-star rated fund Select Focus and the 4-star rated equity hybrid product. So he will bring his skills to the table in identifying winners in the large cap space. And we believe in this current scenario where the economy is on the throes of a V-shaped recovery, but that is still some months away. But at the same time, FIIs expressed strong interest in India. As you can see, we are the only emerging market to get calendar year to date and financial year to date. We have got about 80,000 crores financial year to date. Only emerging market get positive flows. This is on the back of our long-term growth potential, which long-term FIIs like pension funds are investing in. And we believe that the large cap space will continue to benefit from these FII flows sustained over the next 3 to 5 year period, which should give large caps not only a good earnings growth, stock price growth potential, but also give a stability that if there is selling by domestic MFs, as has been recently the case, the FIs are there to buy. And if like US elections or some volatility comes in and FIs do sell it out, we can see that domestic mutual funds have about 70% of their stock exposure only in the large cap space. So there's adequate liquidity to support, and hence the falls will not be corrections will not be as steep and deep as the broader market. So we believe that for first-time equity investors and for people with a more moderate conservative bent of mind, this product is an ideal product for them to get inflation beating returns. As you know, the Nifty over 15, 20 years has given 11% per annum compounded growth rates. And if you take the advantage of taxation for equities, the 11% comes to 10% post-tax, which should easily be double of what the current bank deposits. For example, at 6%, post-tax will be between 4 to 5%. So the large caps have the potential to deliver better than alternatives in terms of the other asset classes. At the same time, give you a stability to the portfolio. So this is probably one of the final steps in our Sundaram Mutual's journey to have a more rounded investor experience through a range of risk-reward products. Hello, can you hear me?
Right, Sunil, hi there, good morning. Let's get in a view as well as to what the concentration is as well for this new fund offer. I understand the mid-cap contribution is likely to be at about 20%. Give us an insight as to, what is going to be some of the sectoral thrust within this fund?
So we think that the mid-cap concentration is driven by the regulator. Once you classify a large cap, you are permitted to have only 20% outside of large caps. So to the extent that we will use that, we will use it for emerging blue chips, which can then get into the large cap category. That's number one. In terms of focus, this is going to be a blend of growth and value. So in terms of sectors also, the growth sectors plus the value sectors will form a blend. And our current view in terms of that is that IT and telecom are the key growth sectors in the next phase, whereas banking, which is currently passing through a lull, we believe as the V-shaped recovery terms will develop into a very strong multiplier, and financial services as a space, whether it's insurance, whether it's asset management companies, is a big play for us from a medium-term perspective. We will selectively add industrials and cyclicals as we see the V-shaped recovery form. Today, they are value picks, so the good quality companies there we will take on in moderation and then add to the portfolio as we see clarity on the V-shaped economic recovery. Pharma in the current context is also a strong, stable sector, which will also form a part of our portfolio.
And what's the sense that you're getting when it comes to the overall large cap focus? Large caps have generated about an 11% CAGR over the last 15 to 20 years.
So we think that given the liquidity supply for FIIs, right, and the safety-oriented approach that people in a post-pandemic world would give a higher value to safety. That's the reason why insurance will also get a higher demand, let's say. So in that context, I think a large cap fund is ideally positioned to give investors a relatively less rocky experience. So if you see within the equities category, large caps are at the safer end of the risk reward spectrum. And hence we believe that the time, because as you know, while on the one hand, the epidemic seems to be coming down, we are also seeing that in rural it is going up. We see that vaccine, there have been many false starts. So I think we need to give ourselves a bit of time to really see a V-shaped recovery. Let us say a max of a year. But in that space of a year, I think large caps have the capacity to deliver value because as I mentioned a little bit earlier, for foreigners, especially the long-term FIIs, India remains the best among the emerging markets because the low price of oil and our labor, the demographic dividend that we have spoken about, and an aging China. I think all of this in context, I think by 2024, India is expected to be the third largest country by GDP size in the world, and which is a phenomenal rise because 16 years ago, we were nowhere. So I think that the confidence comes from the fact that India will remain a kind of very attractive market for foreign flows, and which will be essentially 85-90% in the large cap space. FIIs still don't look beyond that. And mutual fund managers, and you take the recent guidelines that SEBI launched around multi-cap. Why did SEBI bring that guideline? Because the multi-cap, where the fund managers had flexibility, were essentially 70% large cap. So the thinking and thought process of domestic fund managers is also clearly that large caps is where you need to play in the short to medium term. And I think that's where this fund makes eminent sense from an investor. And we would say that even a first-time investor to equities can look at this fund through the SIP route.
Okay, Sunil, we'll leave it at that. I see a big sumo wrestler in your backdrop. Is he the brand ambassador for the fund?
Yeah, thank you for asking. Yes, he is the brand ambassador, and the reason for choosing sumo is because the tagline of the fund is size matters. So as you can see here, size matters. Now, what is that? Sumo clearly expresses the size, but it's not only that. I could have chosen an elephant to depict size. The purpose of choosing a sumo wrestler is because in the wrestling competition, there are two key strengths apart from size. One is the other wrestler is also large, right? So when they try to push each other down, the stability, how stable you are when the other guy is pushing you is important. So large caps imply that stability in a market. The other thing is to win the sumo wrestling competition, you need to put the other wrestler down, right? So you need agility and flexibility. So in one shot, we felt the sumo wrestler expressed safety, stability, agility, and size all in one. And in fact, the ad campaign, which will be coming even on your channels, will be a sumo wrestling competition to demonstrate these features. Thank you for asking. That was very relevant.
Okay, may yours win this round.